Now, Prince Harry, of course, as we know, flew across from America to the Netherlands to open the Invictus Games. It's been one of his great achievements, and of that there is no doubt at all. We learnt subsequently that he popped into Windsor to see the Queen. Fine, that's great. I'm very pleased that he went to see his grandmother. After all, he couldn't even be bothered, could he, to turn up for the remembrance service for his grandfather. And I'm one of those people who thinks he happens to have treated the Queen with the most incredible level of disrespect over the course of the last couple of years, beginning, of course, with that appalling interview with Oprah Winfrey. But Harry's done a big exclusive with NBC's Today Show, and he says he's popped in to make sure she's got the right people around her. And he says, I'm just making sure she's protected. Oh, isn't the Queen oh so lucky to have a grandson as caring and as wonderful as Harry? And if you detect a little hint of sarcasm in my voice, well, you wouldn't be getting it wrong. I wonder what the reaction from the royal commentators is to all of this. I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Ingrid Seward, royal commentator and editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine and author of Prince Philip Revealed, which is out now. Ingrid, good evening.
Good evening, Nigel.
Maybe you thought my introduction was too sarcastic and too over the top, but it seemed to me he hasn't really given a damn for his grandmother's feelings over the course of the last 2 years. And now to go on American TV and to act in this way, it's quite extraordinary. How did the interviewer know that the Queen says that Harry always makes her laugh? Do tell.
Well, obviously, Harry had told her that. I mean, because Harry is promoting Invictus Games, and as you said earlier, it is his baby, and we all think that he's done a brilliant job with it. But he's obviously got to give something. He can't just, this is American television after all. They're not going to just take a few platitudes. They want a bit more. So when they were chatting pre-interview, he obviously said, well, the Queen, Her Majesty and I laugh a bit together. She's got a great sense of humor. Why on earth he had to then add that he was concerned about, who was looking after her and if she had the right people around her. I mean, Harry was doing so well, and then he goes and blows it by making a really extraordinary statement. And I think everyone, love Harry or hate Harry, would agree with you and me that it was a very, very strange thing to say and bound to irritate those at the palace, but I suppose Harry's, he's always feels persecuted, Harry. And I think he's obviously wanted to get his oar in, I'm her grandson, you're mere minions, and I'm going to say what I think. That's how I read it anyway.
Yeah, and of course, on this visit, he's had a Netflix film crew with him for most of it, hasn't he? I mean, they are actually using his connection with the Queen to try and make a lot of money out of a film, aren't they?
Well, I think if it wasn't for Harry's connection, if Harry wasn't who he was, he wouldn't he wouldn't be anywhere near where he is now. But I think the Queen is very canny, Nigel. She knows exactly what Harry's up to. But she's also very forgiving. She's a very Christian woman, and she doesn't want to make enemies of her grandson. She is very fond of him, and I think she probably does find him very amusing. And what would be the point of not receiving him for tea? I mean, tea is quite a formal meal for the Queen. It always has been. There would be no point in not receiving Harry and Meghan. I think she just says it with a smile, and she's very wise, and we don't know what she thinks, but I have a fairly good idea. She knew exactly what Harry was up to.
Yeah, look, I quite understand. Of course you want to see a grandson. I completely get that. Ingrid, a final thought. I mean, the Jubilee, this great big Platinum Jubilee, is really just a few weeks away now. We understand that Harry and Meghan will be welcome and will be on the balcony. Is that the right thing in your view?
I think they would be welcome, and the Queen has offered the olive branch, please come. But then Harry himself said he wasn't sure if they were going to come because he's got some issues with the government about his security. So he's in litigation with the British government, and so it might put him in a very awkward position if he was suddenly to turn up with his family demanding sort of 100% security wherever he goes. So I think Harry is hedging his bets.
It's going to be very interesting to find out. They're always in the news. Ingrid Seward, thank you very much indeed for joining me this evening. Well, we'll see where that one goes, particularly with the Jubilee. I have to say, I think that interview, I think his comments are perfectly appalling. But I've always thought that about him, I have to say.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.